It's time for Inside the Capitol, your weekly legislative update from the League of Oregon Cities. And now for a look at what's happening this week in Salem, here's LOC Lobbyist Erin Doyle. Erin, what's happening inside the Capitol this week?
They are rapidly trying to get out of here, just like the rest of us. They're all becoming rather tired of the process, I think. So we're seeing a lot more budget bills start to move forward. One of the things that's in the tax and finance portfolio is that children's special district creation bill. It's up on the House floor for a second and third reading.
Okay.
We're not sure the timing of it, given how much work the House has to get through in any given day. But in those budget bills, we're still trying to protect the state shared revenues that cities get. There's a lot of tinkering at the edges with those, and some of them could have some profound impacts for the amount of money we get out of those state shared revenues. So Wendy's working really hard on that. On PERS, there's a substantial article from Scott in the Bulletin, but he also wants you to know that we are expecting a bill that will send more money to the liability, to pay down the liability, possibly this week as a standalone bill or putting it in an amendment into an existing vehicle. But more money towards that UAL is going to be helpful overall. From my portfolio, housing is starting to unstick itself in the budget process, which is a little bit disappointing because it's not the bills we're necessarily hoping to see get funding. For example, House Bill 2003 is scheduled for a work session in the Ways and Means Joint Subcommittee. 2003 is the one that's going to put a requirement on cities over 10,000 in population to do housing production strategy. It also includes the state requirement on the state to do a regional housing needs analysis for every region in the state. Regions are pretty big in this picture, but that's going to be possibly a helpful tool for some of our cities looking at how they can work together to meet the housing needs in a region. But at the end of the day, I'm afraid of more mandates coming out of that than better policy. But the mandate in 2003 to do a housing production strategy. This is not something we currently do. It's not really clear. There's going to be new rules by DLCD. It's going to have some technical assistance money in it, but they're going to start cycling cities through on either an 8-year or a 6-year schedule, depending upon if you're inside or outside of Metro. So that payout of technical assistance better keep coming is kind of the best messaging I can give at this point. But it's, asking money from the state is hard, even when they're to fund their mandates. So we'll see if they continue to move forward with that type of process. Speaking of mandates, Senate Bill 10 unfortunately also seems to have gotten unstuck. It is scheduled for a hearing and possible work session on Wednesday in the Senate Rules Committee. So this bill is focusing on cities doing transit-oriented upzoning for residential areas, basically creating a lot more multifamily levels of high-density zoning right along transit corridors.
Okay. Yeah.
The bill has been significantly amended. There's the -3 is what's currently being looked at. It's going to limit it to 3 cities, we think, in the state. Salem, Eugene, Springfield, all of whom have been really engaged in trying to just stop this bill right now and say we need to have an interim conversation about how we do effective transit-oriented development. A lot of our cities are looking at this as a tool in the toolbox. But what we don't want to see is a disincentive towards transit. Because if you say, well, anytime we have a lot of rapid bus service, you have to upzone all the neighborhoods on the line. Who wants rapid bus service then? And then we can't meet other goals as far as transportation. And instead, we're looking at congestion and putting affordable housing further out without access to reliable transit. All of these are bad outcomes. The other piece of it is that while it's limited in this bill, in this amendment to those 3 cities, it has been very clearly indicated from proponents that they see this as the first step and they're going to come back in future years and extend who gets impacted. And unfortunately, I just don't see that as a great strategy and piecemeal having the state mandate levels of zoning. So that conversation is going to take place in the Rules Committee on Wednesday. Hopefully we've done our work that between us and the Transit Association, we've really played that message to the committee members, but it is the Senate President's bill in a Senate committee.
Okay.
And then the last couple of things, House Bill 2001 is looking like it's probably going to get funded. This is the bill that mandates upzoning in single-family residential zones to allow for duplexes or duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, and townhomes if you're a large city. And there will be some technical assistance money there, but that bill is likely to see funding, which is unfortunate for us again. It's just a solution looking for that problem.
Yeah.
I think that there are better ways to spend the state's money to be more effective, and I've been advocating for those. But it's just, there's ways the state wants to spend their money, and that all mandate on us.
Yeah.
So that's just the unfortunate budget picture we're looking at, and those limited housing dollars maybe not being spent the best way, in my opinion.
Again, we'll link this up for people to look at. Is there anything we need members to do, or are we kind of at the point where we've kind of worked up to this and now here we are?
I think at this point we've kind of worked up to this and now here we are. I think still reaching out to members about your budget priorities at the local level, where you think the state should be investing, looking at all the things that we have been working on in a positive aspect is a really great tool that cities still have, because the Ways and Means conversation, while it's slowing down and being finalized, is not over yet.
Okay.
So talking to your members about those state shared revenues and how vital of a resource they are for your budget, particularly for the public safety implications of things like alcohol and cigarette enforcement, protecting those resources is really vital. So reaching out about that, I think, is a key step that many of our cities can take right now still.
Okay, good. Great information. Once again, my guest today on Inside the Capitol is Erin Doyle, IGR Lobbyist. Erin, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this week's Inside the Capitol. Episodes of this microcast are recorded every Monday and released the same day, so be sure to check out the show notes for links to the bills mentioned, as well as a link to the LOC Bulletin for up-to-the-minute information. As always, if you have suggestions for topics for this podcast or for City Focus, please send me an email at cityfocus@orcities.org. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and be sure to subscribe so that you're notified when we publish new content.